That one competitive advantage was no longer sufficient, and the market now demands so much more.
Yeah, it demands brand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the eComm Growth Show.
Do I say hi now or do I wait?
I'm pretty much brain fried at this point.
Let's go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the eComm Growth Show. I'm your host, Robbie Switzer, joined with me, Daniel Stafford.
What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Today, we're talking about just some big shifts happening in the market, and specifically, some of the pitfalls people are falling into as they're kind of looking at the landscape of what's happening, and just recognizing that there's change, but not knowing, where do I switch my efforts to get on board with the success of my future. The crazy thing is back in the day, and I remember specifically this one client, and you probably do too, because it was so, it was such an anomaly. It was like if you had one competitive edge in the marketplace, like that was enough to make something happen. Nothing crazy, won't make you rich, won't like completely transform your life. But why don't you do you know what client I'm talking about here?
I do, Rob. I do. I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm not going to name drop because I don't want to get her canceled. But it was one of my very first clients, to be honest. Mm-hmm. We basically validated this one ad to one pretty small niche audience, and it was just a hat on it, or a hat
for one product.
And it was a store that had a bunch of random products, and she'd basically just try ads for all these products, and hopefully one of them would take off. Well, one of them did take off, and we ran ads for that one product for a year, and got her from like $5,000 a month to over $50K a month off this one product. But the problem was,
now wait, everybody's thinking, you're telling me you were selling $50,000 a month of a hat? What did this hat look like is what everyone's thinking.
They might be thinking that. This hat had bling on it, a little bit of bling, but it just said blessed.
It was a ball cap.
It was just a ball cap that said blessed on the front.
With cursive, beautiful lettering.
Yeah.
And you get it in front of the right people and they're like,
buy.
I want it.
And apparently they weren't checking out other things on her site, because it went from that to like rhinestone belts and like just really
light
random.
Bars, drill.
Yeah, just random. But here's the whole point of the story is we did that for like a year, got her to $50K a month, which is starting to be a sustainable type business, but you got to keep building and expanding on that. And that didn't happen. The ad slowly quit working for that one hat.
Yeah, and the downfall of this, of course, was there was no brand, so there was no customer loyalty. It was a commoditized product where, she was always vulnerable to her competition. Yeah. If there would have ever been a hat that was, 50 cents cheaper and it was the same thing, like there was no reason anybody would have purchased her product above that other one that was a little bit cheaper. So there was just no additional value.
And she was just buying it from a wholesaler, right? Like a lot of boutiques do, but anyone could buy that hat and have it in their store.
So our experience has showed us, over the last couple of years, that if you had one competitive advantage, if you're really good at one thing, you could actually do some things that were significant, not crazy, but significant.
Not big, just significant.
And survive. And we saw this same story play out time and time again, with boutiques, whether they were using like a live selling approach to sell, same thing, just like some nice outfits to a very niche audience. Yeah. Like you could take one strategy and you could really run it really, really far. And for some people, that first story is like, we got her to $50K a month. They were doing that month over month over month. And it was pretty cool for her. Well, some people who did have a little bit more brand, maybe a little bit more resources, more ad spend to throw at it, maybe a little bit more courage and boldness with what they're putting into their ad account. Those are the people that are getting up to like $500,000 a month.
That's right.
And that's pretty significant, but it's still, the problem is when the market began to shift, really moving into 2021, that one competitive advantage was no longer sufficient, and the market now demands so much more.
Yeah, it demands brand. It really does. And I know we harp on this all the time, but At the end of the day, it's demanding brand. And what all goes into brand, you might ask?
Everything. I mean, you got to have a solid content strategy. You got to have customer and peer review. You know, lots of social proof, lots of reviews. You need to be hitting it on email. You need to be hitting it on
Omnichannel.
Just not on like social ads alone. They just don't take you that far today anymore. Customer
support, customer experience, that whole thing. Do you have a good product? Do you have new products that are coming out, you know, summer, spring, fall? Maybe not all like that, but are you engaging your customers in new ways with new products?
Yep. Like overall brand strategy. And so it's really, you know, looking at diversified traffic sources, showing up everywhere, but then actually having real brand strategy for delighting your customers, getting them to return time over time again, and not just trying to figure out how can I create a campaign that gets me a customer. It's more like how can I delight my customers over the course of this year, 3 years, 5 years, what new products am I going to be launching, and how am I just going to be successful as a brand altogether? Because the truth is, like, paid social, it just doesn't take you that far anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you have the full strategy and picture, unless that's contributing to amplifying a greater strategy, a greater message.
Yeah, and when you're saying not that far, I mean, it can still take you pretty far.
Yep.
If you have these other elements in place of a strong brand.
Totally.
But the ones, dude, we're seeing these I gotta say it. We're seeing drop shipping businesses just die.
Yep.
And we've been seeing it for years, but it's really starting to happen now, where shoppers are getting smarter and people long to buy from a real trusted, established brand.
Yep. And I think the big thing that I really want to talk about is, as the market shifts, there's just a lot of people lagging behind.
Yeah.
Unable to adapt. And I think what you're seeing is a lot of those drop shippers are the ones that, you know, the people who aren't like fully committed to their brand, who don't have overall brand strategy, who aren't in it for the long haul. Those are the people who are starting to fall off. And you know what's crazy is, so even as we're talking with some more established brands, what we find is that even a very legitimate service provider, someone who provides marketing strategies as a company for a living, even people who are running ad accounts that are spending $1 million a month, even they are having a hard time not lagging behind.
Yeah.
And so they're still running some of these, and this is based on our conversations with multiple established brands who do have large ad spend levels. And they're saying, hey, you know, even this person I'm working with who has done well, they've done really great for a number of years. And obviously they've done something right to get to the point where they are today, and to have the clients that they do today. Obviously they're not idiots. Obviously they've done some really good things right up until this point. But we go in there and we look at their ad account, we audit their brand, and we're saying, like, these are the same things that they've been running since 2018.
Yeah.
And it's just not relevant.
You just can't do that anymore. That's when you're going to really die off. And for us, Rob, we know what it's like to have to rewrite all the SOPs and keep changing. It sucks. Like, no one wants to do that. It's so much better if what used to work just always kept working, right? And we could just rinse and repeat the same strategies for everyone. But unfortunately, we live in a world that's evolving and changing. And we have to be adaptable as an agency, but these brands also have to be adaptable.
Yep.
And that's been the case since the time business first started. It's nothing new here. We're not touching on anything new. I mean, you look at the challenges of any great company, and what were they really good at? Reinforce my point. They were very good at being adaptable.
The ability to adapt, and it kind of comes back to that whole phrase, you know, innovate or die.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but it was good.
And what's cool, Dan, if you are a student of history, you look back at when things shake up, when economies shake up, when markets shake up, it's in those moments that breakthrough is created.
Yeah.
And you need to come into agreement with the idea that this adversity that I'm facing right now is only going to contribute to my success.
100%.
Because here's the crazy thing is, whether you're failing or succeeding or getting the building blocks to succeed, all of those narratives have sufficient evidence to justify themselves.
Yeah.
It just matters what you're choosing to participate with.
Say that again differently, because I think that's such a good point. And I want people to really grasp that.
Yeah, let me see if I can back up here and rephrase it. Whether you're failing or succeeding, regardless of the external circumstances, you could make an equally accurate argument for both.
Yeah.
It's really about your perspective and where your beliefs are. Is
good.
life for you or is life against you?
That's so good. I see Josiah over there. He's got his pen out. He's taking notes on that one, bro.
He's got goosebumps on his neck right now. Just kidding. But it really is. It's like, you can build a strong narrative and you can attract all the necessary evidence to legitimize that narrative. And they can be two totally different things.
Yeah, 100%.
And the truth of the matter is a lot of brands are facing a lot of adversity right now.
Yeah.
And so you need to figure out, is this adversity making me stronger or is it deteriorating my brand and leading me toward failure?
Yeah.
Is it exposing cracks that I now have the opportunity to fill and make better? Or is it cracking me to the point of completely crumbling?
Yeah.
And that's in your control.
That is. And sometimes crumbling's okay because you just got to rebuild the wall and then make it stronger from the beginning. But dude, what you're saying about being under pressure, adversity, and revealing cracks, I think it's so important for businesses to go through that to continue to thrive and grow. Because like you said, it does reveal your weak areas. It reveals areas in your culture that need adjustment. Reveals areas in your product or service that might need tweaked. And so it only benefits you in the long run.
Yeah. And can I get vulnerable for a second?
Yeah.
So
let's hear it.
One thing I really want, I don't want people to listen to this podcast and be like, oh, look at Robbie and Dan sitting on their high horse, thinking like they got all the answers. Because the truth is, like, we're learning as we go, and our commitment is to adapting to a changing market. Yeah. So if anything, I don't want to be looked at as a person on a high horse who's screaming that he has all the answers. I more want to be this person who's just blowing the whistle and seeking truth. Yeah, I'm like, hey,
he's the whistleblower.
What happened, what worked, last year isn't working today. And I'm going to go tweet. And now let's commit to figuring it out. Yeah. And what's cool is as we have set those plans in motion and we have adapted the way that we even provide our services, we are seeing the results. Yep. So I have every reason to believe that the insights we're sharing here are really valuable because we're starting to see those results in the ad accounts that we're managing with the brands that we manage. So it's just really exciting. And I just wanted to share that because I don't like it when people try to pretend they have the answers to everything,
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad you said that. That was good. One thing, Rob, I'm thinking about as we're talking is Disney. And how focused they were on brand and kind of always have been, really like holding Walt's vision up.
Totally.
But that's changed and adapted so much over the years, but it's continued on.
Yeah, totally.
And I think there's some real, Let
me grab my notes while you keep talking because I have something to say on that too.
Okay, cool. You grab your notes. But I think there's some real learning lessons from Bob Iger regarding what he did to kind of shift Disney and almost save them in a sense. Not save them because they were already doing okay, but he changed so much in a pretty quick amount of time that really transformed Disney. And I'm excited for you to get your notes to share with us some of those nuggets.
Yeah, because when he came aboard, right, Disney wasn't in, it was starting to deteriorate as a brand as far as the public was concerned. Yeah. People were losing faith in it. And, even for Bob, he was on board with Disney for a long time, potentially going to become the CEO, but people didn't believe in him either. And so I did, reading his book, that was a super fun thing. And, have you gotten all the way through it?
Not yet, but you can spoil it for me.
Yeah, no worries. I'm trying to pull up these notes because there's just so many good nuggets, and
But the one thing he harps on, I've seen some of his leadership videos too, is he really talks about how the brand must come first. Doesn't mean you can't change certain things and adapt over time, because it has to adapt as things go, but always keep the brand at the center of it.
Totally.
And what does that mean? What's that mean for your customers and people from the outside?
Yeah, so the brand was really a part of his 3-part strategy, and I'm trying to remember what the 3 pieces were, but I think I know 2 of them. One was to invest in just really high quality content, because they were kind of entering into a season where everybody's producing content, but he knew that brand and quality was going to shine through the noise.
Yeah.
So he said, not only are we just going to invest in animation and high quality content, we're going to do it just really, really well and provide the highest of quality, because if we do that well, it's going to fuel all of our other revenue chains, whether that's products, coming off of the movies, the animations, or like their parks, stuff like that. So it was really high quality content. And then from there, it was also investing in the technology to get that content out there. Yeah. So again, still pointing towards your point of it's all about brand. It's all about content.
Yep.
Then I forget what the third one is, but it was very, very brand centric. And that, just some of the things that I wrote down as I was going through the book. He says, nothing is worse to an organization than a culture of fear. And that was what he was starting to see, is like they're just analyzing the crap out of everything. Yeah. And they're not able to move forward on what they need to as a company because they're not taking risks. And his quote on risk was, he was saying, if you want innovation, you need to give permission to fail. And he said, I didn't want to be in the business of playing it safe. I wanted to be in the business of creating opportunity for greatness.
Let that sink in. Yeah. That's so good.
And then the other thing that I really just admired about him as I was going through that book is dude, you watch a video of him and you're like, I want to hang out with this guy. He seems super kind. He seems super, just forthright, easy to talk to. And I really resonate with this idea. He says, you can't let humility keep you from leading. He's a very humble guy, but you still need to be able to step up and put something in order if it needs to be put in order.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. Dude, there's a lot of lessons in that book, but I just wanted to bring it up for a second just because of how they view their brand and how they've changed and adapted over time. And I think there's so much gold in there. And I like what you said too about how they invested heavily in content, because that's the first thing people are going to see. Once they did that, produce the high quality content, people were drawn to that, which then filled their theme parks, which then sold all their paraphernalia. What's that called?
Merchandise.
Yeah.
Paraphernalia is good too.
Yeah, I like that.
And the last thing I would say on that is, you're really in a season as a brand. The market's changing. There's adversity everywhere. Bob Iger said, companies fail to innovate because of tradition. And you hear that all the time is, hey, we're just working with this other agency because it's what we've always done. Yeah. They've always gotten us good results. This is the way we've always done it. Or we're just doing it this way because that's what's always worked. Yeah. Don't let those traditions, don't let those ways of doing things keep you from innovating.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say today,
I was going to say, I'm not adding to that last line.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys got value from this, please go ahead, rate, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things, because we're going to be really just continuing to invest in you guys and drop knowledge in terms of growing brands.
Yeah. And I do want to add too, we now can provide content, user-generated content for people, product content, photography, website, CRO, and design, TikTok, Pinterest, email marketing. We've really expanded our services. Super exciting. If you want our team to come in, look at your brand, audit it, and see if we could be of value to you, hit us up on our website and
we would love to show you our newly developed phased media plan, from content to dialing in the website to rolling that out through all your different traffic channels.
It's saucy.
It's impressive, you guys.
All right. Peace out.
Peace out.